So I want to start off like we normally do with the fundamentals. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Now, I did have a question the other day and they asked me, Brett, why do you always start off with the fundamentals? And, just because it takes 2 or 3 minutes. And the reason why I start off with fundamentals every single morning is because of the fact that when I was in the martial arts, still in the martial arts, just not as heavy as I was when I was a kid. And when I was in the Marines, we always started off, and these are more like affirmations. The only way that you're going to change any type of behavior with yourself is to continue to tell yourself. And this was the biggest example I got is when I was in the Marines, when I was a young 18-year-old kid going through boot camp. And, the saying is you go in as a boy, you come out a man, and that they brainwash you. And I have firsthand experience on how they actually did that. And a lot of it has to do with chanting, and a lot of it has to do with affirmations. Now, I didn't know it at the time. I had to look back. I can see now how they did it. And so the reason why I always go over the fundamentals is because it's extremely important as a sales professional for you guys to really take hold on these concepts and really hold on to them dearly. So number one is you can make up in skill what you lack in numbers. Well, the other side of that coin is you can make up in numbers what you lack in skill. Kind of depends on where you want to be, right? Do you want to grind and call 100 people to get one? Or do you want to, have a life of freedom and not talk to so many people and get one, right? Talk to 10 people or get one, or talk to 100 people and get one. The difference is, number one, the difference is quality of contacts, but the difference is also your skill level, knowing what to say, how to say it, when to say it, understanding the communication process, understand it's a communication. Number two, the person who asks the questions controls the conversation. I was doing a training yesterday with some agents in our office, and I did some kind of freestyle objection handling. And at the end, I just asked, how many questions did I ask? All I do is ask questions. And that leads into number three is you cannot change a person's perception or belief, only they can. So the only way that you're going to change a person's perception or belief is by asking questions. They have to walk through, their brain has to process it for them to, either agree with you or disagree with you. And either one's fine. And this is more relevant as we go into, right now, guys, our market, especially in Southern California, it's an anomaly, right? You sneeze and you sell a house. So as the market starts to shift more and we start, the hangover starts kicking in and things start thawing out because of all the way that the monetary stimulus and everything that's going on, we're going to start feeling it more in these. And the reason why I bring that up is that the price reduction conversation is going to come up. It's going to come up, right? In our market, there are 30%, 32% fewer homes on the market. So if all those homes on the market that aren't on the market come onto the market, that's going to give an oversupply of inventory and prices are going to have to come down. Well, that's a conversation that you're going to have. And you're going to want to practice that conversation because just because you're going to tell your seller something, they're going to not necessarily believe. You're the salesperson. Of course you want me to lower the price. You're only in this for a commission. Well, yeah, I am in this for a commission. I don't make any, I don't do this as a charity. Otherwise I would do it for a charity. Otherwise I'd be cheaper than a discount broker. But, you have to practice that and ask the questions. Now, if you don't have a lead until you know your why and when. So when you're actually prospecting, now think about this. Prospecting is lead generation, right? You don't have a lead until you have a why and a when. So your goal when you're prospecting is to ask questions to identify their why and their when. When you get their why and the when, they turn into a lead or they turn into something you throw in the garbage, right? There's no reason for you to continue to work or to spend more time or to, invest resources into something until you know their why and your when. It's nothing personal. It's just business, right? Are you going to spend $1,000 to go and try to figure out somebody's why or when? Or are you just going to talk to them on the phone and say, hey, why are you moving? Hey, that's awesome. When do you have to be there? Right? It really breaks it down to that simple. And then the last one is a technique that I added is when in doubt, mirror their objection as a question. 90%, if not 99% of the objections that you get are ones that you always get. Now, for those who haven't been in the business a while, who haven't had a lot of transactions, of course, every objection is going to be new. Well, that's why you're in the role play group. That's why you're on this training, is because, 99% of these objections that we go over are objections that come up all the time, regardless of where you're at. So that's what we work on. So I'm going to do something a little bit different today. We have a bunch of people live in Zoom. So I can either go over objections that we're planning to work on in objection handling, or if you guys have one that's specific that you'd like to work on, please walkie-talkie me or chat in the chat box and let me know if there's anything that you guys would like to walk on. So just go ahead and type it in or say something, or I'll just choose one. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and choose one if you guys don't have one. Okay, so you guys should see on your screen the objection handlings for today. Let's kind of zoom this in a little bit if I can. So we already went over, I don't see any of your signs. Do you sell homes in my area? Well, yeah, we did that on Tuesday. I don't want to sell, I'm going to die in this property. We did that on Tuesday. I don't want to reduce the sales price. We do that pretty much. I do that pretty much every day, but we also talked about that on Tuesdays. So properties are selling fast. Why do you charge a full commission? So this is an objection that you really have to understand. So guys, objections, rebuttaling to objections is not just a one-liner, right? We're not the comedy circuit. We're not just like hitting out one-liners. They say something, we rebuttal it, and then, give them a pen and ask them to sign. When somebody asks you about properties are selling fast, why do you charge a full commission? From the consumer's perception, not your perception, from the consumer's perception that things are easy, right? That you didn't have to put a whole lot of work into it. They look at that anyways, right? Professionals make things that look easy, right? In everything. Look at professional athletes. They make what they do look easy. If you guys ever watch professional skateboarding on television, they make it look easy. I'd kill myself. So when a homeowner is saying, hey, properties are selling fast, why do you charge a full commission? That's a really great question. If you don't mind me asking, right? So I'm doing a softener. If you don't mind me asking you, why is it that you feel that there is a cheaper or a less commission should be charged in order to sell a home faster, right? I didn't rebuttal that. I'm really actually curious. I'm actually really curious. Why do you think that they say, hey, properties are selling fast. Why do you charge a full commission? I'm like, why do I charge a full commission if properties are selling fast? Yeah. I mean, the home's on the market. You wake up, you go to the bathroom, the house sells, and why do you charge more? Well, guys, here's the thing. Now we go back into our perception, and it's now you have to ask questions to get them to understand your point of view. Well, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, let me ask you this. A lot of homes are selling with multiple properties. In fact, the last one that I sold in this area, now you're showcasing your experience. The last one that I sold in this area, right? We got 35 offers. 35 offers, and it sold for $50,000 over price, right? Now that would be great if we did that with your house, right? Right. Okay. So do you know how much time and effort goes into reviewing and negotiating one offer? Well, no. How long does it take? Well, it takes a long time between the two of us. Now, depending on the number of offers we get, now we multiply that time by 35. So now there's actually more work that goes into it. Can you see that? Well, yeah, I guess I never really looked at it from that point of view. Now, let me ask you this, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. Your goal is to sell your home in the fastest amount of time for most money possible, right? Well, yeah, of course it is. Okay, so if we brought you 35 offers, do you want me to just randomly pick which one we're going to present to you? Or do you want to methodically go through it and pick the right offer for you? Well, I want the one that the right offer for you. Okay, so do you think that you need to have an agent that has the experience to review offers, to sift through it and read through the lines and talk with you about the different terms, the different obligations, the different things that are the same, because not all the offers are going to be the same. It's not all about money. So do you think it's important to have an agent that has experience like that to represent you in that? Well, yeah, I do. Okay, so you don't want a new agent that's never sold a property, let alone handled 35 offers at one time, right? Okay, so we're on the same page. So do you see why now actually I still charge my full commission? And in fact, I've chosen not to raise my commission because more time comes into it, but why I still have to charge my full commission? Well, okay, I guess I see that. Now they could go sideways, right? They could disagree with you and that's their right. The point of asking questions is not necessarily to brainwash them. It's to get them to think through the process analytically, logically, and from your perspective, and then get them to make a decision or to bring up another objection. Guys, the only thing an objection is a question, right? We call them objections because we're in sales, right? It's not an objection, right? Not like court, right? Not like I object. No, that's not how it works. They're questions. These guys, they're people just like you and I. They're consumers just like you and I. I can honestly say that I would be the worst client for another real estate agent, because all the questions that we are rebuttaling, that we're working on, I'm going to like rapid fire at these guys, and they're probably not going to know how to handle it. And I'm probably sure that 90% of you guys would probably do the same thing, because we do this. This is what we do. Let's move on to this. Anyone want to talk about that? Anybody want to share some insights or maybe have a question on that regarding this specific objection? Anyone?
I do.
Okay. Hey, Katya.
So, good morning. So I was thinking, can we use the team, like, because the new agent do not have listing behind themselves. So like if I wanted to promote myself, I would say our office, right now is closing, because really I don't want to lie. I have not done any closing, and I would not want to give the impression that I have.
Okay, so that's a great question. So what do you do? So let me paraphrase that. So what is it that you do? How do you rebuttal this objection if you're newer into the market and if you didn't sell that one that's 35 properties? Okay, so this kind of ties into the other things that I teach about or that I train on, is that you got to get out and preview property. You've got to know the market, and you've got to know the market better than the next person, which, guys, to be honest with you, that's not going to be very difficult. I'm lowering the bar pretty hard on that. But that just gives you the opportunity to be the best. You've got to be able to pitch your value where you're strong. If you're a new agent and you're going up a veteran agent like me, you're not going to win out on experience. It's just not going to happen, right? Where you can win out is on price, right? Newer attorneys, newer doctors, they charge less than experienced ones. It's just how it works. But where you're strong is, and this is where I said, and I think I said this on Tuesday, is that you need to align yourself with a company that does a lot of activity in the market, that does have credentials, that does have a well-known name. I'm with Keller Williams. People know Keller Williams. Our office is a very strong listing office in our market, right? Sellers see our signs. So where you're weak, you have to perhaps talk about, if you're part of a team, talk about their credentials. And instead of saying me or I, start using we. So example, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, my office and I, we just sold a property in this market, and it got 35 offers on it, right? Now, those are key nuances, right? But now you're bringing in the whole collective of the thing. Okay. Now, if they ask you, you're not going to win everything. We've just got to accept that. There is nothing magical that you're going to be able to say that's going to get people to just, okay, you said what I wanted to hear. I'm really glad that you said that. So yeah, let's sign. When you're new, you're going to lose out on some things against experience. Accept it, figure it out. But don't go in there and saying, hey, I'm brand new. I haven't seen any property in the market and I'm charging 6% commission. That's not probably going to go over well, but you just have to you got to work on your strengths. right? You got to, number one, work with what you got, and what you got, make it better. And the one way that you can do that when you're new, the one way that you can compete with experience is go and preview every house in the market. Every house in the market. Now, I'm not saying every house in the state. That's not possible. But every house in your immediate market, say 3 to 5 miles, that's reasonably possible. If you preview 5 properties a day, every day for a week, that's 100 properties a month. In our market, in a 3 to 5 mile radius, I know this because I just looked it up, there are, in our market of Irvine, there's 600 properties on the market right now. If you previewed 100 a month, if no new homes came on the market, you've previewed 600 properties. Not only is that content rich that you could actually make videos on, but that is something that no other agent's going to say. And in 6-month period of time, you've seen all the homes on the market. So maybe your strength isn't necessarily the numbers that you've sold. Your strength is that you've had run-ins and you've seen every single one of the houses that are competing against theirs. And that's value. So maybe you have to do a level shift and switch it out of this. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I understand that you're actually, we were talking about properties are selling fast. Why do you charge a full commission? So, I mean, but we turned it into a different objection. But that's how you get your strengths going, right? Work with your strengths. And if you're going toe to toe on experience, and we have some experienced agents in our office, I mean, in the market, it's a very competitive space. If you're going to go, if you're a newer agent and you got to try to go toe to toe with a veteran agent that has a lot of experience, you're going to lose. You have to change the game. You have to change and start focusing on your strengths so that it's not comparing apples to apples. They're comparing apples to oranges. You might have to lower your commission a little bit. It's just what it is. Okay, so I'm going to move on. How am I doing on time? It's about normal. 8:47. Let me see. I'm going to unshare my screen real quick so you guys, oh, I think it's unshared. Yeah, no, it's not unshared. My bad. Okay, I'm not going to unshare it. I'm lost in my windows. Not everyone has seen my office, but I have like 3 computer monitors, and when I get things going, I get lost. Stop sharing. I think I got it now. Okay, so the next one I'm going to work on is I'm going to wait until after the elections. Boy, is that foolish. If any of you guys saw what happened on the debate stage, I thought it was foolish before then. I think it's really foolish now. Here's the thing, guys. Again, this is not just a one-liner response. I'm going to wait until after the elections. This is going to come back to the talk track that I actually use this talk track on the daily. Now, my personal belief, my personal philosophy is for anyone who's looking to sell their home in the near term, they're foolish not to take advantage of this market. I'm not joking. You sneeze or somebody sneezes and a house is sold or an offer is written. That's how fast things are going in our market. I think it's at different levels of degrees across the North America, but I'm going to wait until after the elections. Oh, so Mr. and Ms. Sellers, you want to wait until after the elections? Yeah. We think that, we want to, there's a lot of unknowns right now. And we just want to wait and wait until things die down and wait till this COVID passes, wait till the elections get and see what it looks like that. Okay, Mr. and Ms. Seller, can I specifically ask you, what is it that about waiting after the elections makes you feel like it's going to be a better environment to sell your house than now? Now, I did a level shift, guys, right? I changed it. They said, I want to wait until after the elections. I replied with, okay, what is it specifically that makes you feel that it's going to be a better environment to sell your house than it is now? Well, and then they're going to go in and say what they're going to say. Now, here's the thing, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I don't know if you know this right now, but if we sold your home right now, if we put the home on your market right now, and I'm not saying that that's the best thing for you, but I'm just saying what if we put your home on the market right this minute, chances are we're going to receive multiple offers because in the first 2 to 3 weeks on the market, you get the most activity, right? I'm starting to plant eggs, guys. I'm really starting to plant seeds here. So right now, there is a 100% probability that if you put your home on the market right now, that you will sell your home for the most money in the history of forever in this market. Forever. Your home has never been worth more as we are right now. Now, we start looking, if you want to wait until next year, here's what we're looking at. Would you agree, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, that there's a lot of uncertainty in the market? Yes, Brett, I believe there's a lot of uncertainty in the market. Did you watch the debates? Yes. Did that make you any more certain about the future? No, it did not. Yeah, me neither. I probably wouldn't say that because now that's diving into the political arena. Man, that could open up like a rant and rave for like an hour. So I would probably retract that. Okay, so have you ever seen your home worth more than it has been now? No. Okay, right now, there's about 32% fewer homes on the market right now, so there's less competition for sellers. Did you know that? No, I didn't know that. Do you think if you had 30% fewer competition, that increases your chances of selling it fast and for top dollar? Yes, Brett, I most definitely do. Absolutely, because it's the law of supply and demand, right? Okay, so let's look into the near future, past the elections, into next year, right? There's a lot of uncertainty still. And would you agree with that? Yes, Brett, I would agree with that. Okay, so there are really smart people on both sides of the aisle that says, number one, I don't think anyone really agrees with the V-shaped recovery anymore. Now it's a little bit wider. But there are people on one side of the aisle or on the subject that says things are all going to be sunshine and rainbows and that homes are going to continue to appreciate until it reaches Mars and beyond, right? Out through past Pluto. But then there are others who are equally qualified, equally as smart, that are saying the exact opposite, that says that we're entering into some really bad things. Are you hearing that as well? Yes, Brett, I'm kind of seeing that as well. Now, regardless of what side that you're on, can we agree that one of them are going to be wrong? Yeah, one of them is going to be wrong. Okay, so here's what we're looking at if we wait until next year. There's a 50-50 gamble, right? I went from 100% probability when we're talking about selling now to a 50-50 gamble that you're either going to put the home on the market this time next year. You might get about the same amount of money as you would now, or there's also a 50-50 gamble that you could start chasing the market down. That those 30% of the people who didn't put their home on the market are going to come and put their home on the market because, like you, they're thinking about waiting, right? So we're going to add that, right? The foreclosure, forbearance, and deferment programs, those are going to start ending up until February, March. The eviction moratoriums, those are going to start ending February, March. The stimulus, the amount of money that's being paid for unemployment, all this stuff is going to thaw out. All of this has downward pressure on prices. So Mr. and Mrs. Seller, my question to you is, do you want to take 100% probability that you're going to sell your home fast and for top dollar, which is what you told me your goal was? Or do you want to go to the craps table, roll the dice, and gamble that if we wait, you might get what you would have gotten now, or you might have to start chasing the market down? What is it that you want to do? Now, I used an NLP technique on this. It's like this or that. I gave them two options. Now, 10% of the time, they're going to choose, option C, but I didn't choose option C, right? I always ask agents, I'm like, do you want to make more money in production or do you want to pay less in fees? And they're like, both. It's like eating your cake or eat it too, right? Sellers have to look at this, and you have to be very firm in your belief system. The guys, what I think is irrelevant, right? What we have to do is counsel our clientele on what's going on in the here and now. And the here and now says that there's a 100% probability that if you sneeze, your home's going to sell for top dollar in the fastest amount of time. It also says, the uncertainty says that next year's a gamble. Next year's a gamble on everything. I was talking, I can't remember who I was talking to. My dad always comes into town on Thanksgiving. We don't know if my dad's coming in on Thanksgiving until probably the week of Thanksgiving, right? We were talking about going and visiting my sister-in-law in Dubai over Christmas. We're not going to be able to know if we're going to be able to do anything at Christmas until around Christmas, let alone what's going on in January, February, March. And that uncertainty is the reason why people should list their home right now. Right now, you can't rebuttal a condition. They might not be able to sell right now. it might not be even relevant, right? They might not be a fan of selling and renting. They might not be a fan of whatever, right? But that's okay, right? But it's your job as a professional consultant, right? Yes, we're salespeople. We get compensated for the sale of the house, but you know what? We have a fiduciary responsibility to our consumer, to our client, to our future clientele, to have these conversations with them. None of them are, most people aren't talking about this. You know, most homeowners and most real estate agents, they're only looking 30, 60 days ahead. They're not looking, they can't see the forest through the trees. But this is a viable conversation. This is a serious conversation. And you would not be fulfilling your fiduciary responsibility if you didn't at least have the conversation. Now, their job is to take all the information that you provide them, all the information that you counsel them on, and make a decision. But if you don't have the conversation, you're not getting the listing right now. And how horrible would it be that said, Brett, you know, we've been talking to you since October of last year, you know, fast forwarding to February. Why didn't you tell us that this could happen? Now, I'm assuming that the gambling would be that things are going down. Excuse me. I think the odds of an appreciating market into 2021, I think you should go buy a lottery ticket. I think the trends and everything that's going on, I think there's so much uncertainty that I just don't see a whole lot of things. That's me. But they may not agree with that, but you got to at least have that conversation. Because if you have that conversation, you could, in a very roundabout way, look, I told you so. Now we need to chase the market down. Now we need to have a different strategy. Do you want to continue to chase the market down, or do you want to price the home in front of the market so you can make lemonade out of these lemons, right? Okay, guys, 8:57. I have a few minutes. If you have questions, unmute yourself. Hi, Cecilia. Has to be on this one.
Just for example, I have a client that insists on not lowering the price in a very good offer that we had that was cash, just because he said that there were that all the numbers indicated that he could go higher. And I told him everything that we have spoke, but he decided not to go lower, and the buyer went and purchased even a property where he's gonna have to put more money to make it look better. Okay,
so stop there. So stop right there. Sorry for interrupting, but I don't have a whole lot of time, but I do want to address this. So this is a good example of you doing your fiduciary duty, giving them the information and allowing them to make the decision, right? Now, I don't agree with his decision. I would probably ask him is, what are the indicators that you were looking at? Because the indicators that I'm looking at paints an entirely different picture. So I'd really like to know what it is that you're looking at. What he's probably referring to is like, I don't know, Fox Network, you know, CNN, MSNBC, you know, he's not talking to someone who's boots on the ground that's really looking at it. So here's the thing. Your job is to bring up the conversation. Your job is to ask the questions. Their job is to actually choose what's best for them. If they choose what's best for them, even though you're thinking to yourself, man, this is going to hurt. This is going to suck. You're walking right into a punch. It's their decision. But at least you brought up the conversation. But I would be interested in knowing what data metrics that he's looking at, because they're probably short term, and he's not throwing in the variable of the pandemic, the variable of the elections, the variable of the economy, the variable of how runaway inflation is going to affect it, the variable of jobs, how it's going to affect in the long term. In the short term, I can't disagree with him, but if he hasn't sold the home right now, you know, in the first 2 to 3 weeks on market, then you know that I know that you know that the home's overpriced. And you just have to ask questions to help him understand it, or you just have to be there with a rag to wipe up his blood after the market beats him up a little bit. So guys, I don't have time for another question. That's 9 o'clock. I appreciate you guys showing up. Have a great time on your role playing, and I will catch you guys next Tuesday. Have a great day.
Thank you. Thank
Bye.
you. Bye-bye.